Hello and welcome to Adults Only Let's Play Episode 3. I'm Indy Jones, and as always, I'm joined by my beautiful wife, partner in crime, Coco. This is Adults Only Let's Play, and if you've never watched Adults Only Let's Play before, it is a show where we play video games and we talk about adult topics such as sex, relationships, love, romance, and everything in between. This week we are talking about casual sex and the stigmas and social ramifications of casual sex. So what are some of the stigmas about casual sex? What are some of the social stigmas associated with it?
I think there is slut shaming.
Slut shaming is
It's huge. It's huge. And it's not just from men towards women, it's women towards other women, which is just sad.
Yeah, now explain what slut shaming is exactly.
It's just basically making somebody feel bad about their sexual activity and their sexual choices, being promiscuous, maybe sleeping around, having casual sex, and then just making them feel horrible about those choices.
So how does slut shaming typically happen between women? Like, have you experienced it much? Does it happen outright, or is it more kind of just intoned sometimes, inferred?
I think it's more how us women do it. It's not so blatant. It's little jabs and it's little comments. I mean, you see it blatantly. You see it. I don't know. I'm older. I don't really see it, but I've heard it, and you see people tweet it, you see people, Facebook it, you see it, brought up in TV shows, you hear it on the radio. I listen to podcasts and I hear people talk about it. So you see
female celebrities sometimes getting shunned for
absolutely
being what's the term where you cheat on somebody. Wow.
A cheater?
Well, no, what? Infidelity, I guess.
I don't know where
whatever.
you're going with that.
For cheating or for for instance, there was a country music singer a few years ago who cheated on her husband or something, and she has been banned from country radio.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
I can't remember who that is, but I know I had heard that that's happened. And I think that just that sort of thing happens more widespread just in culture. I think women are looked down upon if they sleep around, whereas men who sleep around, they might get shunned a little bit.
No.
But it doesn't last. That's for sure.
No, there's still the double standard. And what's always cracked me up is that men want to have casual sex. In order to do that, if you are heterosexual, you need to have casual sex with a woman. So how are you making a woman feel bad about having casual sex with you when that's what you're looking for from the woman in the first place? So you can't have it both ways. You can't be looking for only casual sex and not anything more, and when you find a woman who's willing to give that to you, then you just, make her feel like crap, and you slut shame her, and you don't call her back, and you just use her for that, when she may be on the same page as you, but that's what you wanted.
Do guys do that? Do they
Absolutely.
Make women feel like sluts? The women that they are sleeping with?
Absolutely.
How does that occur?
I think there's a lot of getting to the sex act of charming and this and that, and being really nice, and then once it's over, it's like wiping of the hands. You never text again. And, if a woman texts, they'll be it's just the tone changes, everything flips. And some guys will just be like, nah, I just wanted you for one thing, and you gave it up, and I'm not talking to you again. So
it's more of just if you have sex with them on the first day, why buy the milk when the pussy's for free?
I think that's part of it, and then I think there's the whole was it classy in the streets and freak in the sheets? They want
Or as I heard today for the video game fans, Elena in the streets, Chloe in the sheets. Uncharted reference. Bringing it back to video games.
There you go. See, it all comes right full circle. I just think, it's such a double standard. Like they don't want to bring the woman that slept with them on the first date or even before a date home to their parents. But that's what they're like putting themselves out there looking for. So you can't have both. And then that puts women in a bad position. So we're not allowed to explore our sexuality and say, yes, this is something that I'm looking for, without it coming back to bite us in the butt, for better turn of phrase.
Right.
Because then, what if you do really like somebody but you slept with them on the first night? Doesn't always mean that they'll ever respect you. And that's but women are supposed to respect men, and men are supposed to be able to sleep around and sleep with whoever they want. But if they're hetero, they have to be sleeping with other women. So it's this weird dynamic.
What are some other ways that society stigmatizes and kind of looks down upon people who have casual sex that you can think of? I can think of a big one.
Okay.
STDs.
Yep, absolutely.
I think STDs can happen.
They can happen. They do happen, and they happen every day. They're very much an accident when they do happen, but a preventable accident. But it shouldn't be an accident. I guess that's the thing. An STD should never be an accident. True. They're all preventable. So then that's so I guess a preventable accident isn't really an accident, but no. But I don't think anybody enters into sex expecting to or wanting to get an STD. You don't go to sleep with somebody saying, "Oh, I hope she has chlamydia." No, but do you have that conversation? I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people lie. Right. I don't think people get tested as regularly as they should. They absolutely don't. I think that's also part of the social stigma. Yes, it is part of the stigma, and I think people don't ask. And, tomorrow is National HIV Testing Day, June 27th. Over 30 years ago now, I think 34 years ago, the first case of HIV was positive. So it's been 34 years, and we still have 50,000 people a year being newly diagnosed, and 1.2 million people in the United States living with HIV, and 1 in 7 of those people do not know that they're infected. So there's a huge education problem. There's a huge communication problem. I think people there's still such a stigma between HIV and other STDs that they don't want to say that they have it because they might lose that other person. And then, how many people really have the conversation about condoms and safe sex when you first meet somebody, especially if you're just going into it for just fun, or you meet somebody in a bar and you're drunk? Who says, I brought a condom, or I need to stop and get condoms? Like, who really stops that, like, excitement and that, like, need and want, and stops the moment to say, you know what, I need to make sure that this person's safe. I need to ask them what their STD history is. I need to ask them if they're HIV positive. So it's almost like the stigma against casual sex prevents the conversation about STDs, because people don't want to let on that they have casual sex, that they've had lots of sex with people before. Right. So they don't want to even mention it. They'll just be like, "Oh, I haven't had sex in ages, and it was with a steady girlfriend." And exactly, you hear that all the time. It was I don't do that. I'm clean. And so people just won't even talk. And so people just won't even have that conversation, or they'll just brush over it because they don't want to let on that they do have casual sex. And there's nothing wrong with having casual sex, especially as long as you are safe. Exactly. And I think also, that's a hard topic to bring up. Like, hey, I think you're really sexy. I'd like to get with you, but
People don't do that. People don't really say that except on the internet. People don't really say that to each other. And I don't know. Maybe more people. If more people would say that, maybe it would be better. I think sex is so. What I'm without words tonight. I cannot think of words. It's so. Fuck me. What is the word?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
it's this. All I can think of is stigma, and it's the only fucking word that I can think of tonight. Where it's just looked down upon in society, to the point that like we don't talk about it with our kids. We don't talk about safe sex with our children, and then they go into college and they just start having sex, and they don't want to talk to people openly about it, but they're still having it. But nobody talks about it.
Right. No, and unfortunately, there's a huge rise in syphilis right now. Huge rise in syphilis. There's HIV is still being tested positive on college campuses continuously, and it's just so frustrating. First of all, I work in the field. That's why I know the statistics and stuff like that. I'm not just spouting random stuff, but they don't. I think there's this mindset now of there's medications. HIV is not, quote unquote deadly anymore, which untreated it absolutely is. But we do have medications now that you can live a long, healthy life. So I think kids just think, well, I can just take medication for the rest of my life and it's not a big deal. And they didn't see the horrors and the death that came along with HIV. And I think they don't, at that age, understand that some of these STDs, they can never have children if it goes untreated. Like, they can never have kids, but you're 17, 18, 19, you're not thinking about that. You don't care. You just want to get your rocks off. Like, you're not thinking about consequences, and teen pregnancy is still, I'm sorry, I know like Teen Mom is saying that because of them teen pregnancy is down. It is still a high number. It is not down enough,
and that's because we don't talk to kids about it.
No, everybody's too embarrassed. And even when you're meeting somebody as an adult and having a conversation about sex and what you like and what you don't like and what works for you and what doesn't work for you is still completely embarrassing to most adults, let alone, to a kid or to a parent talking to a child about sexuality.
Yeah. I think people don't know enough about STDs, even HIV, for as high profile as it is. You taught me something the other day. You can get STD through, you can get HIV through your eyes. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Basically, what we're saying is if you're positive or you don't know and you're giving a facial, just don't do it in their eyes.
When they get mad in porn, when the guy hits their eye, it's for more than just because it stings.
And it doesn't mean that because you get in your eye, you're going to get HIV. It is just a slight possibility. So we just say to avoid it. But one of the things we do in my working with HIV patients and high-risk STD patients is you talk about harm reduction and risk reduction. Not everybody is going to use a condom. So what are other things that you can do? Pull out. There's lots of other things that you can do. Pearl necklaces. Come on our tits.
Body shots can always be fun.
There you go.
Anyway, this was Adults Only Let's Play, Episode 3, with Coco and Indy Jones. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like us on YouTube, subscribe, all that jazz. Tell your friends. Until next time.